Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Good, good, good. Good, good. Alrighty, guys. Hope we're doing okay this morning. Let's get on into it. Bring up the chart here in a sec, real quick. Just on the kind of market overview, main thing to note today that it is OPEX triple witching, I believe. So as we know, that can cause some chop. Not always. We have been spoiled, I think, in a lot of them recently, where we've gotten a nice early move before it's kind of degraded into that lower quality price action. But just be aware of that. If things start to look like they're not moving anywhere and pinned to a specific level, that can often happen on these type of days. So with that, let's get into the trade plan today. Obviously, a little bit of a sell-off last night. Weren't able to test the prior day's high in the overnight session, and then just faded. Did put in a little bit of a failed breakdown here as the London session opened at the 66.47 level, ran up nicely and then dumped, and the overnight traders got an excellent trade here at 66.12, the prior day's low. And with that, I think that opens up the conversation of the wake and bid trade that's become quite popular, or quite prevalent, I should say, recently. Did you trade that, Mayank? And if so, how did you view that? Kind of what time did you get up, and how were you reading price action around that?
Yeah, I woke up and bid it. Pretty simple as that, to be
Is your
honest.
head still on the pillow?
I actually got in at like 36 or so.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, so a couple of things, right? Obviously, there's going to be some discretion with this because it's kind of up to each individual how much juice is quote unquote left.
Mm-hmm.
The couple things I was eyeing. One, we'd sold off overnight quite a bit. So that kind of already, in my mind is okay. We've had a good sell off into the low.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, it's a high quality failed breakdown, right? I think when Adam was talking about some of his factors, he did mention the fact that it is a prior day low failed breakdown, which does automatically increase the quality. So, essentially when I wake up, I'm looking at, okay, we put in a failed breakdown of prior day low. It was a huge bounce, clearly, right? We got a giant move off of that yesterday. Secondly, we've sold off quite nicely overnight. And so far, we've obviously ran up, like if I'm including the from the danger zone, we've ran up about 20 points, nothing more than that. So for me, there's still room to go in terms of back testing higher structure. So for those reasons, my discretion told me I can go ahead and give this a shot.
Yeah, I did something similar. I woke up kind of or started getting on charts at this region right around 6:30 my time. Um, Saw we'd kind of back tested 23, 66, 23, lifted off there nicely. I was hoping we were going to dip back but to it and back test it again. We weren't able to. We held about 27 ish, 25 maybe, and started lifting off. And I got in on this kind of little bit of momentum move up here. Got in around 30, um, and rode it up a couple of levels there. So yeah, hopefully this one, from my perspective, I wouldn't mind that just running and ripping the rest of the day, but I think that's pretty unlikely with OPEX. So with that, major active fail breakdown here. Trade plan for today. Uh, we do have the 66.47 above, which has been, I'm on a 10-minute chart here. It's been accepted quite nicely now. Um, multiple attempts at coming back to it, selling off, coming back to it, and making higher highs all the way up here. So if off the open, if we can push through here with some momentum, I think that's a valid trade for anyone. You could potentially be looking at more like this 44 low here to get in above that. Adjusting this 47 level down to there. What are your thoughts on that if you were flat here at this point?
Yeah, not a terrible trade idea there. That's definitely something that could be valid. Besides that, I would say you're looking at lower, taking that 6608 failed breakdown. But yeah, if in terms of kind of looking higher here, that's probably the best way to kind of add on at this point if you're flat.
Yeah, so the overnight low is the trade beneath us now, 6608, as Mike just mentioned. So rather than looking for 12, add that new '08 level to the chart there and look for a sweep of that. Um, Outside of that, you were getting into kind of macro fail breakdown structures. We've got 6592 beneath it. And then some levels which he didn't specifically call out as being failed breakdown levels. I actually haven't really studied them to see where they're coming from, but more just look for a reaction at that level. By that, is that level gonna hold and bounce, and can we get a failed breakdown of some intermediate structure above that? For example, something holds 75, puts in a failed breakdown of a low above it, or maybe the next level up at 92. Same thing at 52, and then 65.32. I think he quite liked that as a failed breakdown level. But yeah, let's see how we move. Main ones today. I've adjusted my level to 43 here, and the '08 beneath that. I think those are the two standouts. Anything else from your perspective?
Yeah, no, for me, I'm like I said, I'm gonna try to hold this runner all day if possible with a stop under the lowest low. I think I made a mistake yesterday not doing that, and I was kind of micromanaging my runner all day, and I saw in the newsletter Adam had kind of said like, hey, price was noisy and choppy, and when that's the case, just keep that runner all the way below. Don't. It's just a more of a pain to add back, or take it off, put it back in. So I'm gonna avoid that today. I'm gonna just keep it below the low. If it trails out, I'll look to engage on the 6608 failed breakdown. If not, then I'm gonna try to hold this all day and see if we can, if ES can do some back testing higher here.
Yeah, yesterday was a tricky session if you were trading it over and over, especially if you were engaging in the middle of the range. That I've removed the level, but was it 35 yesterday?
Yeah.
Was kind of that key pivot. Yeah, you really need to be trying to trade the edges on a day like that. Of course, 9, 10 o'clock, we don't necessarily know it's going to be like that. But yeah, maybe by 11 o'clock, it's starting to look that way. I was the same. I traded the 19 level yesterday. My runner trailed out on that break even to preserve profits. I didn't engage after that, but yeah, hindsight should have just held the runner below the lowest low. But yeah. Okay. Well, with that, we'll catch everyone in the Discord. Let's see if we can push above this low here at 43 with some momentum off the open. And if not, if that fails, we'll look below to 6608. All right. Thanks, everyone. Catch you guys in the Discord. Bye for now.